everything here today.
And why the millennial generation is starting to give up because they can't afford to get a good job or own a house.
8 million Venezuelans voting for this assembly, saying it's actually less than 3.
It is. And people are going to start rioting in the streets.
Was reported to have asked Putin for military support that would help him stay in power.
We will make America safe again. And yes, together, we will make America great again.
And they ignore him. And 8 more years goes by till Bernie himself finally admits to his sons, hey, I've been running a Ponzi scheme.
Does its dominance mean it can use the alliance for its own ends?
Since 1981, bond yields, also known as coupon rates, have just gone down and down and down.
The Federal Reserve note will be your biggest financial liability. RTD Live Talk. It's Tuesday night, the 4th day of the month of December, and we're live. Looking forward to getting your thoughts on a variety of subject matter. More importantly, just from today's bond market, stock market, crypto market, G20 summit. There's so many worthy topics tonight. And so tonight we're going to just basically touch a little bit of everything, get your thoughts on the matter. And then I'll also share with you mine and how, apart from just, watching a lot of commentators in this alternative media space, everyone's sharing their opinions and thoughts. And, to me, it's, apart from an inverted yield curve, we've been talking about that for several months now, that when it happens, it'll be an indicator for what has typically turned out to be a recession. But according to a lot of commentators already, if you look at the true state of the economy, we've been in a recession for a while, according to whatever indicators you might use. So, it's nothing different here. I mean, I believe that despite more indicators coming out that makes it obvious that the economy is not doing well, the powers that be will still have a way of propping things up a little bit longer to buy some time. So I just, wanted to get on tonight and share my thoughts with you and also get your thoughts and see what else is happening out there in our news, because there's so many things happening around this planet. It's hard to keep an eye on everything. But welcome to RTD Live Talk. My name is Mike, the host of RTD Live Talk, Detroit's #1 late night YouTube talk show. No one in the city of Detroit I know does it any better. So we're going to have some fun tonight and find out what's going on. So as always, welcome. If you're watching us, feel free to go and hit that thumbs up button. Might as well, won't hurt you. And then also let me know where you're watching from in the chat. And more importantly, if you want to get involved, if you want your voice to be heard, call that number 1-833-LIVE-RTD. So we got Faith, Tony. What's up, my friend? We got Will. It says it felt short-changed by George W. Bush. Said I felt short-changed by George W. Bush's death. I would have rather seen him hanging in a tree by his. Okay, I'm gonna stop right there. Yeah. So obviously, the conversation from last night was, what are your thoughts on George H.W. passing? And so, overall consensus based upon participation from last night was that nobody really was feeling any way as far as it being a loss overall, apart from just a human life. But yeah, more power. I wish the family well and whatnot, and definitely, I imagine if everything is what it appears to be on the surface, then they're definitely mourning. So I, definitely will pray for them in that regard there. But unfortunately, life goes on. Not unfortunately, but fortunately, life goes on for the rest of us, and so we have things to focus on outside of those type of topics there. And so we got, it says TikTok 1.5 years there. That's new start the recession clock. 1.5 years. That's the new start of recession clock. Recession clock. So I'm not sure, Tony, if you talk about it's starting now or it has already been started or whatnot. It says Adrian says the inversion is confirming we are in a recession, not a precursor. Yeah, I don't doubt it. And as I started off the conversation tonight was that I've been doing videos covering all types of hedge fund managers, alternative media commentators, economists, authors, you name it. We've been talking about recession since the beginning of 2018. And so depending on your source, they can always point to you some indicators to show that statistically, according to their measurements or whatnot, we've been in a recession. But as always, it's not usually until after 2 quarters of them adjusting figures or whatnot, the GDP rather, that it actually turns out that we've been in one. And so with all these job losses, with all this debt, with all these issues that we're facing, on top of all the China-U.S. spit for pat, tariff stuff going on, I'm more than willing to believe that our economy is basically been on life support for quite a while now. And it's unfortunate that now I've seen more and more commentators today, especially to give it the fact that the stock market dropped. Not sure what the final number was. I saw 700 for a minute. We had Fox News doing a live stream of just a ticker as it was going down, and it's been dropping. It's been fluctuating, for the last couple of months, but yet it recovers usually a day or two afterwards. So I'm not anticipating anything. I'm not anticipating a financial Armageddon anytime soon. I mean, I think the powers that be will definitely prop this thing up. Still, a couple more months, give or take, because I don't think it's time according to what they want to roll out. So, but I could be wrong, but we will see, of course. But I just wanted to basically come on tonight just because I felt from just watching a couple different gentlemen and, young ladies out in the alternative media space, so much, just, fear and just, oh, prepare, the world's coming to an end. And I'm thinking like, whatever prepare means for you, you should have been doing it, because things have never been great. We've been on 10 years of a debt binge that's coming to an end, right now, and yesterday would have been a great day to prepare. So whatever that means. So someone said it dropped 799 points. What's that about? I think that was about, it's like 2.5% drop. And so until we see, as what I've gathered, anywhere between I heard a 15 to 20% correction in the stock market, then it's just something that they can probably prop up with just a flick of a button. They can find some funds from somewhere to get that thing back up, and it might be up. It might be up tomorrow 4% or something like that. So yeah, it is what it is, man. But feel free to chime in. Let me know your thoughts. Definitely want to make sure you guys are sharing your opinions and thoughts. It says 100% within a year. 100%. So Tony, you talk about 100% recession within a year, or what exactly? Hebrew, you're not late, my friend. We just getting started a little bit late, and tonight's going to be somewhat of a shorter stream, just because I have some other things I have to get to this evening. But I wanted to get on just because I wanted to get your thoughts, as well as just bring somewhat of a more of a positive, optimistic attitude to the internet tonight, just because so many people are so, oh, the world's coming to an end, and I'm like, it's not coming to an end. The markets may crash, sure, credit may freeze up, sure, there may not be any food in the grocery stores, but if you wake up, you got an opportunity to live and breathe life. Yeah, you're gonna have life in your body, so that's something to be grateful for, despite all the financial, and political stuff that will definitely come, because it's inevitable. People, it's like, if you're expecting something, the best thing is probably, as they say, expect the worst but prepare for the best, or something of that nature. Having that approach, I think, will definitely ease some of the pain when things actually unfolds. And then someone says that U.S. dollar, I heard that the dollar seems to be holding. Yeah, and I also heard I don't actually look at the Dixie to actually find out where the dollar measures in comparison to 5 or 6 other unbacked fiat liabilities, so I don't really pay attention to that directly. And so, as always, the name of the show, Rethinking the Dollar. Everything that's happening right now, inverted yield curve, stock market plunging, trade wars, all that at the end of the day is done with the Federal Reserve note. So at the end of the day and the beginning of the day, concern yourself with the currency. Everything, all this, when it's all said and done, when everything is unraveled, when the smoke clears, when everything is revealed, it's a matter of your national currency. As I mentioned in the intro of this, that your national currency is the greatest threat to your financial security. And so it should be it's how the U.S. usually gets involved in other nations' affairs because they use a narrative that it's in the best interest, or it's in the best interest of its U.S. interest, or whatever the spiel they use in reference to other other nations' affairs impacting us. So it's in the I think I'm drawing a blank, but I'm sure you guys know what it is. It's in the best interest of our country, or whatever, to get involved. And so this whole subject matter that we're talking about, and everything that we're starting to see more of, it's all a matter of the currency that we are using, that the world has depended upon for, 105 years, about to be 106 years in January from the Federal Reserve Act being passed. So, yeah, be of good cheer, my people. It says Lynette Zane from IT Trading was saying we are officially in a recession. Yeah, and so I actually caught Lynette Zane stream today, and so, recession, as I mentioned earlier, there's all types of indicators to show that the overall economy, the health, and the economy in of itself has been slowing down in various sectors, depending on how you look at it. So I can't think of the 4 or 5 that I highlighted earlier from interviews or whatever, but yeah. It says funds the buyer of last resort. Yes, is the market closed tomorrow because of Bush? John Moore. Is the markets closed? Man, I don't know. I don't know. I don't think so. Let me actually Google that and see. Will the market, I type in will the market, the first word came up was crash. So it looks like market crash might be a topic, a trending topic on Google. Will the markets be open tomorrow? Let me see if something. It says New York Stock Exchange is open Monday through Friday, 9:30 to 4 p.m. So apart from holidays, I don't think the former president passing away will be considered a holiday directly. So John, I believe they're open for business. And so here's some things to consider. How does the rest of this week shape up? Does it continue on tomorrow? Does the percentage points, I think it was a 0.5. I'm not sure what it ended at as far as the 5-year and the 3-year, that 0.5 or 0.1, whatever it was. But if it gets worse, what happens from there? So time will tell. But the whole idea, what I wanted to talk about was the idea of it seemed like more today because of, the inverted yield curve, which to some confirms that we're in a recession. But it's the whole idea of being prepared. And I'm really thinking about it's one thing to be prepared based on things that we can do firsthand, the basics, your basic necessities for life, and wealth preservation for whatever comes. But at the end of the day, what does prepared truly mean? So that's one thing where I'm like, if you're not prepared now, then when will you get prepared? It says markets not open tomorrow. Markets are closed tomorrow, not tomorrow. So it looks like in the chat we got a couple people saying it's closed tomorrow and a couple people saying it's open. So if anybody out there has any information, share, post a link in the chat and we can dive on it further. But just typing in will the markets be open tomorrow? New York Stock Exchange is open according to what Google's telling me. So feel free to let us know. And so if it is closed, it says read Google market is closed. Okay. And so if it is closed, please share with me what is the reason for that. What the markets are closed, what days the markets closed, market holiday. When President Bush, days of mourning meeting for stocks, bonds, and okay, so here's what's closed for former President. Okay, so stock market closed Wednesday. New earnings dates for these companies. So stock market is closed according to CBS News. And so let me pull this article up here so we can all get on the same page here. Appreciate those that stuck in there and persist that in informing us that the market is closed. But it said here's what's closed for former George W. Bush's funeral on Wednesday. Wednesday will be effective federal. It's a federal holiday now, so forgive me. So it is a federal holiday according to, I guess, the passing of a former president, and so they close in the markets. It's a national day of mourning, meaning that federally all workers will be excused from work and their agencies will be closed. The former president, national day of mourning. Post office closed. Major U.S. stocks markets are closed, including the New York Stock Exchange, NASDAQ, and Dow Industrial. The New York Stock Exchange said it would lower its American flag to half-staff, and the U.S. traders held a moment of silence on Monday. So it looks like tomorrow is a federal holiday for the funeral of W. Bush. And so here's another question that came to mind. Now, we had a 700-800 point dip in the stock market. Now tomorrow it's closed. Is that a saving grace period for the markets, or will it pick up the next day? And so that will be the true test. And so it seems like the market happens to close possibly right at the right time, unfortunately for not something of good cause as far as the president dying. But yeah, so coincidence or not, I mean, I don't know. I don't know, but I'll leave it at that. It says, oh, we're so sad. It says, bro, seriously, markets are closed tomorrow, 100%. Appreciate that. Yep, we up on that. We up on that now, so I appreciate that. It says, Dad, sad. Let's move on. I'm about that. Let's move on. So, what are your thoughts on? Okay, and so I would be remiss if I didn't mention two stories that definitely caught my attention, and I'll actually pull them up on the screen because I'm, out of everything that took place, whether it be the stock market or the bond market or the whole truce thing or whatever. I'll pull a story up right here. It's two stories that caught my attention today, of which I'm like, wow, like I'm more like concerned about this, and I'm gonna pull it up so you guys can see. But I want to definitely touch on this because this is something that lets me know something is going on. And so let me see here. I'm trying to find the article before I bring it up, so bear with me. But let me see here. And I want to get your thoughts on it because it kind of got me thinking a little bit. And so because it's taking forever, basically I'm going to pull an article up here. But let me open it up. So this is one thing that caught my attention out of everything that happened today. It says long dormant whale wallets suddenly move $900 million of Bitcoin. And so today, both large stashes of Bitcoin and Litecoin moved today. And so we had two wallets from two sources moving on the same day. Bitcoin, Litecoin, of the Litecoin, I was looking for an article, apparently 35 million Litecoin moved today, or from what I saw or gathered. And then we had a good chunk of Bitcoin moving to different wallets. So apparently with the Bitcoin, excuse me, it was, let me read this. It says, so as you've imagined, the clearance of the account and the amount of 66,000 Bitcoins worth 260 million immediately caused eyes to turn toward it. And so here's the address here. It says 1 hour later, the 10th ranked wallet. And so here's the other day I was inquiring about if anybody knew about where you can actually look at wallets and see who has done what. And so it says from Whale Alert, $263 million was transferred today worth of Bitcoin. So whoever it was sitting on a Bitcoin since, I guess, 2013, or there was no activity for that wallet since 2013. And all of a sudden now we got massive movement. So I'm curious as to what do you guys think about that? So feel free to chime in on that and let me know, is this the beginning of something, or is this a indicator of something? And so beginning in a positive sense of some activity about to take place price-wise, because here we are in December. We know what happened last December. Some people are expecting, anticipating some type of mass market move. But then also, given what's going on, I want to share with you my take on it and how, there's the positive side, then there's the negative side. And for some reason, I'd rather be mindful of both. But here's the thing with either scenario of the positive one that I can share with you or the negative one, it doesn't, it's something to be cautious about. But in the middle of all that, it's not like it's end of the world because of, if you got your weight up. If you get your weight up, and if you're speculating in the crypto market, then sure, you may lose out in the digit form, but yet at the end of the day, it's always been about the tangible metal stuff. So depending where you at, it could be alarming, but it could be an opportunity as well. So, but before I dive into that, I want to find out, get your guys' thoughts on that. So feel free to chime in via chat. You probably are, but I'm ranting too much. So let me go ahead and shut up my mouth a little bit and give you guys a little topic. It says that LTC and BTC that move was in legacy addresses. Okay, so John, and so I'm aware of the fact that the Bitcoin moved to a Segwit wallet, And so what are your thoughts on that, John? Is that something that is just basically changing banks, going from an old outdated bank to a new bank? And why now? You know, why, if it was stored for so many years, I don't assume there was any type of security threat or whatnot. Why the sudden move? I'll be interested in finding that out. And so Omnibone says over the counter market sale, and that's one of the things that I was also conscious of, because wouldn't it be timely if whoever those two, or it could be one individual, so we can speculate on who it could be. I wouldn't doubt if it was someone in the higher up. You know, I wouldn't doubt if they were affiliated with a central bank. You know, wouldn't it be something else if it was a central bank that happened to be holding on to all that, and they're about to really cause some problems? Because if you haven't noticed, as there's more trembling or more trembles in the old archaic models of finance with bonds and stocks, more people have interest in things that are labeled outside the control of a single source. But when it came to that Bitcoin, of somebody having 35 million Litecoins in their possession, that's more than half. I think that's 60% or something like that. And so if one individual holds 60% of the total current supply of coin, that's central. That's an extremely centralized coin. And just say if it was a central bank, you know, of course, we're just throwing stuff out here, so I can be completely off, or I could be somewhere near. If someone just happened to dump 60% of Litecoin, that is good to say that the price is going to go back down to that $1 range, $2 range, or you know, maybe even below $1. And then my question for those out there, and John, definitely, I would like to hear your thoughts on this matter, and also let me know your thoughts in general. Is if somebody was to dump, you know, 35 million out there, and it went below $1, you know, however that plays out, would there still be a immediate need and rush and desire for Litecoin and cheap Litecoin, or will that ruin confidence in the Litecoin community? I want to hear somebody's thoughts. Please give me a call. Somebody give me a call right now. I would love to hear somebody's voice. It says, I believe, let me see, what is a possible major dump coming? It says, from what I hear, the UN loves Litecoin. It says, smart rich getting their 10,000 Bitcoin while they actually can. Yeah, so I heard it was 100 wallets. 100 wallets received 600 coins or something like that, or 1,000. It was something that was like, clearly this was a clear strategy, because whoever it was that moved that, they already had all the addresses they need. So that lets me know there's somebody that's big in the game that already had 100 addresses or whatever it was that they sent small increments to. And so, you know, just something to throw out there and get your thoughts on it. It says supply and demand, not all will be able to get 10,000 Bitcoin and up. It says possible major dump coming. What else we got here? It says it's important for them to move SegWit addresses. I don't doubt it. And so, John, like, so in reference to the just the idea of two entities, not sure who they are, I would imagine, I know this is just me guessing, that those two entities that moved those coins know each other, A. B, could be the same person, and C, they got some plans, and it could be positive or negative, of which I'm like, you know, it's just something to talk through and find out what are some possible scenarios, because you know, pretty soon, by the end of this year or by next year, we'll definitely know what those moves was about. And then to think about someone sitting on 35 million Litecoins, that's 1 point something billion dollars. And so imagine whoever it is, I'm thinking, is a long-term thinker. So they have some plans, either long-term, or all this was set up for this time period to put all that back out in the market to destroy confidence. But I doubt that, just because we have a lot of financial institutions right now already spending a lot of money. I believe, I don't know what the total is, but I'll be willing to bet behind the scenes, from what we do know and don't know, more than $1 billion or two has been spent on infrastructure and adoption and preparation for products. Like I follow the Fidelity Asset Management Twitter page, And they sent out a tweet yesterday looking at that they're looking to expand their staff. They're looking to add, crypto people who have crypto and financial backgrounds and stuff like that. So they're hiring. So Fidelity must know something. And so, but as always, we just talking right now. So I want to keep it at that. Don't want to discourage anybody from doing what they do. We got a call. So let me get to this call. Hello, caller.
Is this Mike?
This is Mike. How you doing? What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hi, Mike. I'm John. I'm from Montana.
John from Montana. How you doing, buddy? What's on your mind tonight?
I've been following oh shit, I got mental block here.
No problem.
Anyway, I'm into gold and silver.
Okay.
Only because I know, it's existed for many, many thousands of years, and it'll probably exist for many thousands of years. And I'm just worried about people that get into the what is the crypto stuff?
Crypto, yeah.
I hate to be I just don't understand it, to be honest with you. It has no backing. It's the fiat. It's basically the fiat money currency all over again, except in digital. And digital is probably the worst. I mean,
yeah.
They can play with that like there's no tomorrow. Anyway, I just thought I mention that, and things are. And the other thing is, it does seem like things are heating up, and things are blowing gaskets all over the place. And,
yeah,
and we got interesting times to come. And
yeah, I do agree.
And I follow you every night.
Well, thank you, sir.
I look forward to. I don't know exactly what time you come on, but I always look for your channel to come on.
Well, I appreciate you. Thank you, my friend. Thanks for calling and sharing your thoughts, and I appreciate you following and supporting the channel, my friend. Thank you. So yeah,
thank you.
We'll definitely keep our eyes out and definitely keep everybody informed. So thanks for joining the community, friend.
Okay,
have a good one. Yeah, bye-bye. Bye. Yeah, man, that's it's good. Like that's the thing. Like, and so somebody in the chat typed in "Economist cover 1988," and so and referring to this cover here, get ready for a world currency. And so here we have fiat currencies burning. We got all this, noise right now in regards to the current reserve currency. And so, could it be perfect timing, as far as whatever the plan was set up is happening right now and on time as planned. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Mike, Tim.
Tim, how you doing, buddy? How you doing?
Good. I think we should sell all that gold and silver. It's just too darn heavy, Mike. I can't carry that crap. Let's just put it all into Litecoin.
So I'm sure some people have done that. So yeah, but yet those people are probably already a little bit pissed already if they did do that. So, but yeah, I don't think I'll be.
Walls, Mike. You can take it over the border and everything.
Yeah, and I would say leaving across the border, you might want to have a little bit of something of both kind, depending on what you feel most comfortable with. But definitely, you want some weight on your body. So yeah.
Diversification? What are you talking about?
No, I'm saying if you're going across the border, you can't take your weight with you directly unless you probably wearing it around your neck, look like Mr. T with all that gold on probably. And they're still gonna stop you and ask you to take some of that stuff off. So even with that on, yeah, we'll see about getting away with that. But if you got some things probably on your phone or whatnot, you might be able to let that fly for now. So.
How about if you eat it?
Yeah, I don't know if that'll taste or feel too good.
I got a question for you.
Yep, go ahead.
So I know we've had this discussion about Bitcoin, 21 million. But just like you were just talking about, who owns the over 50%?
Yeah.
If you own over 50%,
that's Litecoin. Yeah.
You can Bitcoin or Litecoin. But I know with Bitcoin, you can change the algorithm. Therefore, there could be 100 million. It doesn't matter. And we know that the big banks have unlimited. What?
Yeah, I don't know about the algorithm type of thing. I don't know about that. I believe that it's like baked into the code that there only be 21 of that actual core initial coin, but you can spin off and fork as many times as you want. As we see Bitcoin, everybody got a Bitcoin something to their name. So, yeah. So, but go ahead.
Well, beg to differ, but I could be wrong too. But you go ahead and research that, or have someone call in. But I'm pretty sure that if you have 51% or better, you can change. I think you can change the actual algorithm.
Yeah, and so other than not being a crypto expert, but I know that just recently, if you have over 51%, then they have that thing called some type of attack or something like that happened with Vertcoin just recently. So I believe if you have over half, then you have some power, some say-so, or some things. Yeah.
Yeah, so, maybe someone can call in and clarify. But that was my understanding.
Yeah. So it's
here's the next question.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, it's 51% attack. John just mentioned that. I drew a blank on a another coin, Vertcoin.
Someone will tell us. Hey, so the other question is, so with 21 million on Bitcoin, what makes Litecoin worth anything? What's its limit?
Litecoin, to my knowledge, I think it's going to be 85 million. Somebody let me know if I'm mistaken. But yet, as time goes on, the ability to create and to mine the coins become more difficult, and they give it that monetary principle of it's harder to mine the further you get off. It becomes more difficult to solve math problems and stuff like that. So basically, as time goes on, it becomes more rare type of thing.
Is there a limit though? I mean, it could be tougher, but is there a limit? With no limit, it is fiat.
Yeah. So it is a limit. It's capped. It's capped at total of 84 million total coins that can be in existence. And I guess not sure how long it'll take to get the 84 out because of the whole algorithm stuff and programming and stuff like that. But they're finite in supply in comparison to the other Federal Reserve notes and national currencies, which we're going to find out as everything unfolds now how much they can actually put out in circulation, and that's going to be a problem.
Well, that's another good point. I mean, if you look at gold to silver, we're pushing 80, 85 to 1. If it's 80 to 20 million, you're looking at 25%. That gives Litecoin a pretty big advantage over Bitcoin as far as its value. I mean, if that's the silver, if that's digital silver and Bitcoin is digital gold, then you're at a 4 to 1.
Yeah, and I think Litecoin, from everything I've gathered, and the people will probably tune in, they'll probably agree that it's being positioned to be more of a coin that you can actually use in day-to-day transactions. So that's the move and the desire for the Litecoin community. Whereas in Bitcoin, people consider that to be the gold, so they're going to store that. But yet with this Lightning Network and stuff like that, there's a movement that's trying to make it more usable in a day-to-day transaction. But that's why they got all these forks and stuff like that, because people have different views on what actually Bitcoin should be used for. So, but I let them do them, so I don't really worry about all that. But yeah, man. But Tim, appreciate you calling, man. Thank you.
Okay, hang in there.
Have a good one. Yeah, man, good stuff as always. So, hash power. I appreciate you for correcting me on that one. I understand Litecoin has always bowed to the rise of King Bitcoin. Be careful of all the HODL LTC. Time will tell. Time will tell. I'm not buying a cup of coffee with a bar of gold. Would you? No, I would never buy a cup of coffee. I don't drink coffee, but I'm a tea person. But I wouldn't, especially right now in this time frame, until I got a better sense as to how this thing will play out. I'm not looking to really get rid of anything that I have expectations for being a monetary sponge to absorb some of this quantitative easing that's about to take place by the end of 2019. I believe that, once everything is said and done, and this inverted yield curve, and the banking sector, their stress test, their next stress test, we'll see if they pass it. But yet, at the end of the day, there's going to be another injection of liquidity to stimulate the economy once it comes to a halt, and that next round of stimulus will definitely cause major issues, and things of value, art, and things of that nature will definitely skyrise in price, because people are going to be looking to get into that. But metals as well as crypto, I believe, will be recipients of that. So I wouldn't buy a cup of coffee with that. I would use a piece of paper. And I usually have a piece of paper sitting around here somewhere, but I do have pieces of paper as reminders and keepsakes here. I have a 100 Argentina note, and I got a 100 Bolivar note, all of which aren't really, literally they're just paper, yeah. Yeah. What else we got here? It says check check its history. What are we talking about? It says, I'm not buying Bitcoin. It is not digital currency and never will. Currency as far as and so when you get technical and you get into words, usage of words, digital, it is digital, whatever, same as the Federal Reserve note, currency or digital program behind it, the Federal Bank run on their ledger. And then you have currency, you know, actually used in transaction. And as of right now, it's not really used in that regards, even though you can. But I don't think that's the intentions of a lot of people to actually use it right now. And of course, as things unfold, I'm sure people will want to use it. But right now, I don't think so. But we'll see. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from? Oops. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, Mike. It's Johnny Litecoin. How you doing?
I'm doing good, my friend. How you doing?
Figured it made sense for me to call in tonight.
I appreciate you. What's going on? What's it about? So, give me your thoughts on a couple topics in reference to the bulk of them Litecoins and the Bitcoin is moving. Give me your thoughts on that.
So it's definitely important for everything behind the scenes testing exchanges.
Yeah.
To see if they used SegWit addresses. If they didn't, could they send to SegWit addresses? And believe it or not, a lot of them couldn't. So what that means is if you have a Litecoin wallet that starts with the letter M, right? M as in Mary. Basically, that these exchanges couldn't even send to that Litecoin wallet, which isn't good because then it creates a lot of confusion for people. So having everything in the SegWit addresses is needed for the Lightning Network compatibility. So I think it just has to do with them really ramping up getting this Lightning Network ready. And perhaps if there is something like what we're talking about, like, you know, Economist magazine, the 1988 thing, and things along those lines, perhaps maybe the powers to be do know something that's going on, and maybe they need to get this Lightning Network ready faster than expected.
Yeah.
But I just think it has to do with that.
Right. Now, in reference to the amount of coins that are being held by those particular two addresses, in reference to Litecoin, that's more than half, and then in Bitcoin, that's a nice sized chunk. Any care or thought as to who may be holding those? And is there any chance you think it could be someone that's not possibly operating in the best interest of promoting adoption through those coins? Is there any chance you think?
I really doubt that it's somebody that wants to dump the coins. I think if anything, exchanges do sometimes move coins around anyways for security purposes.
Yeah.
I just really think it has to do with something more along those lines. I don't think it's anything to do with someone getting ready to dump coins, nor do I think it's one individual. This is obviously some type of entity. I mean, who knows? You know, I got a little conspiracy guy in me too, so who knows? Maybe it's like a government or something, you know. But that would only be bullish to me as far as the price goes. The fact that they're moving them into these SegWit addresses, and I mean, if it is a government, I mean, hell, that that would mean they know something we don't know, and they got some almighty plans for Litecoin, you know.
Yeah, it's possible, and I do know from a few governments having confiscated some illegal operations coins over in the EU area. So I know some Scandinavian countries are actually sitting on Bitcoin and possibly Litecoin as well. So they're holding on to them coins as a reserve as well, I'm sure. So I would be curious to find out if we were able to find out what governments are holding what. Because we have political figures in D.C. that have, gave information that they actually hold cryptocurrencies in their portfolio. So when we have U.S. politicians holding it, they must, be interested in either making gains on it or protecting themselves as well. So, yeah, but we'll find out though.
Yeah, definitely. It's interesting to see what happens, but either way, the prices are low right now, so it's a hell of a good time to be, accumulating. I always tell everybody slowly, like always, you never want to be, refinancing your house to throw it into this stuff. But you're definitely going to get a lot more for your money now than you were 6 months ago or a year ago. So
definitely, my friend, definitely. So we'll keep an eye on it. Now, in reference to the whole adoption side of things, share with us some of your experience in reference to what you have going on, and have you seen a increase in interest by businesses and whatnot on your end?
Yeah, so I have a lot of big stuff in the works for adoption, getting people to accept Litecoin and Bitcoin for payment. A lot of my targets right now are going to be like, gold and silver dealers, just getting every one of them up and running, accepting Litecoin as payment. I have a really good solution now that automatically converts the payment behind the scenes. It gives the business no option to even keep the Litecoin. It just funds them U.S. dollar.
Yeah.
And the fees are low, so that's actually very people like it because we don't have to teach anybody anything about crypto. We're just like, hey, use a product like you normally use. It works similar to like a credit card processing product.
Yeah.
And the business just sends out invoices like they normally would, and if the person wants to pay in crypto, they have that option, and they don't have to. The staff doesn't have to all of a sudden become like a crypto security expert.
Yeah. Now, speaking of product-wise, I'm not sure. Are you familiar with the product? I believe it's in. I think it's out in Singapore or something like that, Hong Kong. But the Pundi X.
Yeah, I haven't tested it or nothing because obviously it's not really. I haven't really seen it in the U.S. yet.
Yeah.
But it seems pretty cool. Now, what I'm going to tell everybody, right? Litecoin and Bitcoin are payment forms for online transactions. We can never forget that, right? The world's going increasingly to an online e-commerce-based world, right? But that's ultimately what Litecoin and Bitcoin were designed for. So the in-store stuff is great, but it wasn't really the original intention of Bitcoin or Litecoin, why they were created. Actually, in the original Satoshi white paper, the Bitcoin white paper, in the first 2 lines it says that it was a peer-to-peer cash system designed for online transactions. So I always kind of tell everybody that. That way when people ask me, hey, when am I going to be able to go into Starbucks and pay with Litecoin? I'm like, look, think of it more as maybe Starbucks is online ordering. You'll be able to pay with Litecoin soon, or maybe places that sell online. So look for anything online for adoption first. Fair
enough. Now, last thought, and also we have more people call in, but share with me your thoughts on Bakkt pushing back their launch date to January as opposed to a week or two ago. What do you think? What do you think that was all about?
I got a couple theories on it. One could be that we're just in a bear market and they want to wait for things to maybe turn around a little bit. Maybe it's maybe some of this is correlating with when they want to launch a ETF. So I just think it probably has to do with things like that. I don't take it as a bad thing. They may even delay it again. January 24th or whatever date they have set is only a tentative date. So I wouldn't be surprised if it moves back again a little more.
Yeah.
But don't worry about that stuff. For me, I mean, it's great that Wall Street, these people are getting in, but that's not what this stuff was about. It's about freedom, liberty. So the people like us that we're talking, we're chatting. I mean, we're not really going to use those products. We're gonna put our stuff in like a Ledger Nano S or an Exodus wallet, and keep it that way. Just like if we bought gold or silver, we're not going to have paper contracts. We're going to actually get our weight up, and shoe boxes of gold.
Good point, man. Well, listen, Johnny, I appreciate you, man. I got a couple more people trying to get in here, but thanks for calling in as always, man. Good talking to you.
Great talking with you, Mike. Take care.
Be good. All right.
Bye.
Yep, so feel free to call in, and we'll go from there. But, here we have an article up here provided by Mr. Doris. So we got another call here. Let me get these calls. I apologize for that. But But yet, you know, I'm always interested in finding out John's thoughts on the crypto side of things. Trying to get this call going. Hello, caller. What's 3? Oh, dang. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
To accept, press.
Okay. I apologize for that. Yeah, you know what usually happens at this time. There's some type of issue with the phone, so I apologize for that. Call back again, and hopefully we should be good. But other than that, I want to get your thoughts on this article here. It says nearly 2/3. Let me end this. Might have a call right here. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, I gotcha. How you doing, Mike? How are you?
I'm doing good. What's your name, buddy? Where you calling from?
My name is Peter. I'm calling from Boston.
Peter from Boston. What's on your mind tonight?
Alrighty. In regards to all this Litecoin and Bitcoin being transferred, I know as of a couple years ago, Cliff High, who was spot on, so you got to give him a little bit of credit and also take a lot of what he said with a grain of salt. But a couple years ago, he was pretty much spot on with everything he said. And he had mentioned there being a grandiose public display with Bitcoin that would just send the price through the roof. So I'm wondering if this has to do with the SegWit thing where they're going to transfer Litecoin to Bitcoin and all that fun stuff where it's just going to, I mean, it's ready to bounce. So that could possibly be it. And that was around 2 years ago he spoke of that.
Yeah.
And I know with the WebBot, he said, you know, a lot of times the thing that is hard to get a hold of is the timing. So a lot of times these things happen, but he sometimes has a hard time getting the timing down.
Yeah.
So that's just a little bit of food for thought.
Yeah. Good point there. So that's the thing, like, you know, apart from just being aware of the fact that there's entities or a person or whatever that moved a lot, we just speculate as to what it could be, but the truth always comes to light, and we will find out. Hopefully it's going to be beneficial for everyone that's, you know, waiting for some type of spike or return to its all-time highs and beyond. So, but we will find out, man. But thanks for sharing that.
Well, that's the thing is everyone's looking at it as it's a negative thing, and it just might not be. It might be positive. So
I do agree.
Just
so,
something to think about.
Yeah, definitely. So I threw it out there with the idea that it could be, or perhaps it wasn't. So, but thank you for your call. Got to get to this next call. So I appreciate you.
You got it.
All right.
Have a good day.
You too. Good stuff as always. Good stuff as always. Missed the call. Dang it. Shoot. But feel free to call back again, and I'll definitely get you on here. So I appreciate all of the back and forth tonight. And so I definitely want to comment on this article here. It says nearly 2/3 of non-citizen households in America are on welfare. And so do you think that is not by design to allow non-citizens into our border because of the next presidential election, especially where there's going to be a push? And I see in the chat there, a lot of people are referencing Ms. Cortez being a presidential candidate. And so definitely those people there that fall on our list will definitely vote for her, in my opinion. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
How you doing, Mike? There's low blood pressure from Corpus Christi, Texas.
How you doing, my friend? Appreciate your calling. What's on your mind tonight?
Good. I wanted to talk to you about this whole Bitcoin thing. I don't pretend to be an expert, but think about this. You got Bitcoin, you got Litecoin, backed by nothing. What if JP Morgan comes out with a coin that says, hey, this is backed by silver. We're going to call it the silver coin. What you going to choose? Silver-backed coin or crypto backed by nothing? You know, JP Morgan, they said they hired like thousands and thousands of programmers, more than Facebook.
Woo, that's hey. So every night somebody throws out a very good question, and so I'm sure the audience heard that, so people are going to chime in. But just hearing that question, first thought comes to my mind is that because of the entity behind it, I don't believe in it. And so apart from it being offered and issued, and they say it's backed, but me personally, as I become more aware of this stuff, I'm not really interested in anything that's associated with the word backed. Like everything started off as being backed. So I don't think we're going to actually return to something backed, because once again, there's still risk in between the people that hold it and the people who issue that spinoff or that derivative or claim to it. So I personally would rather actually hold the physical in my possession. So I would probably not necessarily jump to get involved right away. That's just me, but some people might. What are your thoughts? What would you do?
Look, the way I see it is there's going to be something like maybe they'll do it at something that they have in every neighborhood, maybe a post office, maybe even some kind of a convenience store that's nationwide or Walmart, and you deposit your silver, and they give you these, you know, like Satoshi silvers, whatever you want to call them, on your account, right? But you're not going to deposit your entire silver. You're just going to put whatever you want to put in there, like a bank account, you know? And then you can move around freely, waste, spend what you want, you know, and then you go back to that Walmart or whatever that little office is going to be, and you grab as many coins as you want, your silver right back. You know what I mean?
In a true, fair, and correct system, that might be something that will be entertaining if you can actually count on the government side of things, live up to their end of the bargain. But at this point of the game, I believe the governing bodies are reaching a point of desperation to where they're not going to put themselves in a corner, because if they bring silver or gold back into circulation, that's going to cut back on deficit spending, which means less promises, which means less votes, which means less favors and less people back to scratch. So yeah, they're not going to go backwards, I don't think. But that would be something to entertain, because the post office definitely needs something to do, because Amazon going to put the post office out of business. So you see the post office, they're changing their whole model. They're delivering 7 days a week now. So that's something different. But competition, man. We need more competition, put like that. Competition is a good thing, and we need more options of methods for payment and stores of value. So the more competition we have in our possession or to choose from, the better, I think.
I just get scared of this Bitcoin and this Litecoin and Dogecoin and Ethereum and this. I don't pretend to be an expert.
Yeah.
But you know, a lot of people say it takes energy, it takes electricity. Hey, I can go get a college education that'll cost me $500,000. That don't mean it's worth anything.
Yeah. Good point. Well, hey, man, I appreciate you.
It's not for me. It's not for me. I think a lot of these gold bugs and silver bugs, they just went right at it because they said, oh, it's a get rich quick. I went from pennies to $20,000.
Yeah.
I think they've lost some of their not their morals, but their train of thought to this get rich quick. That's what attracted me to it. I remember seeing that stuff when it was at 25 cents a token, you know, and I didn't know nothing about it. But I was like, this stuff is weird. I still think it's weird.
Yeah. It's definitely different, but hey, man, like everybody has their own way of, you know, trying to make it through what's coming. So, but I appreciate you calling. Got to take this other call. So thanks again for calling in.
All right, Mike. I got my weight up. Today.
All right, my friend. Appreciate that. Good job.
All right. Thank you.
Interesting. Thanks for calling in there. And as always, when I try to go over, I missed the call. So feel free to call back. We get you on here. But yeah, so you know, the conversation started off initially, you know, thoughts on the markets and whatnot, and I was, you know, attempting to just tell people to be of good cheer, man. Don't really, you know, get down as if everything's coming to an end. This is just part of the process, man, to getting back to some type of monetary freedom, if that is such a thing in this day and age. But I think, you know, the idea of, I see some people put supply and demand. Whatever people want, whatever people are able to use and believe in, they're going to actually be able to receive. And then at the end of the day, it's, you know, it's about the idea of scarcity. I'm more so interested in things that are scarce, given that pretty soon we're going to find out how plentiful Federal Reserve notes can be when there's a need for some more rounds of QE. And this time the QE is not going to be stuck on the Fed's balance sheet. They're going to put that stuff out into the streets, and that's when they're going to get really ugly. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, what's going on, Mike? My name is Lou. I'm calling from New York City.
Lou from New York. Appreciate your call, my friend. What's on your mind tonight?
I wanted to ask you a real estate question. I've been listening to you guys over the last couple of months, and it seems like the best thing to do is to try to get your money out of the system and put it into some type of tangible asset. So in regards to real estate, if the bubble pops, so like when they got to readjust all of the LIBOR rates and stuff like that, how do you think one would go about acquiring like a real estate property from the bank? you have all your money out. Like,
oh, so good question. First of all, I'll let you know that we can talk some things through. And as always, the audience, that's why it's great to have a lot of great community feedback here. So anybody in the real estate industry in the audience, feel free to chime in via chat. But my thought process is when things go haywires as we anticipate, and what we've gathered from other situations in other countries, it's probably going to be a while before the dust settles to where banks are actually able and willing to unload some of their things, because they're going to be bombarded with houses. And I think, at the end of all this, it's going to be a currency situation. So I'm not sure how or what they're going to be looking to receive for payment for things. So we think if you hold gold and silver, you can just, get into it some type of currency and they'll take it. But they may issue their own digital blockchain based thing that you got to use. So I don't know how the transaction process would be to even deal with a bank, given that most banks may be closed. I saw some people talk about a bank holiday. So we have no real clue of figuring out how this works in a monetary collapse, because this is going to be systemic. This is not going to be just an isolated event here. But at the end of the day, I think when things do clear, housing prices will be at their true value in reference to what people can actually afford. And for those that are actually able to make it through and have some value of some sort, will be able to acquire those houses. How, I wouldn't begin to know, because I'm not sure how the credit system might be, because, most people at this point rely upon credit, but in this next go round, credit may not be as plentiful like it is in a lot of second and third world countries. So no clue, to be honest with you, but I would imagine that if, in having something of value, you might be able to buy things clear and free, and then from there, go from there. But not sure how that all will work out. This is where we are going to learn on the fly, but that's just what I think off rip. But, feel free to share me what your thoughts about that is.
I mean, to be honest with you, I really wasn't too sure, because I heard like back in 08, 09, like, yes, the prices of properties went down, and I know they were doing like a lot of cash deals. But just because it's a cash deal, it doesn't mean that you will walk in with a duffel bag full of money and say, hey, I want to buy this property.
Right.
So if I got to take all my money out of the bank because it's not safe to have it in there, like what of where I got this money from when I'm coming to buy the property now, how would that whole situation work?
So that's definitely something to consider, because during the 08, that whole little time frame there, the system was in danger, of course, but the banks were still operational. And a lot of people, I remember watching Dave Ramsey, one of his programs. He has mentioned about how he was excited, like he made most of his money now from that time frame because he was sitting on cash, and so he did well in that. Right. But moving forward, a lot of people mention they're trying to be as liquid as possible. But if it is a banking situation, which will end up being one of the issues as well, those people may not be as liquid as they think they are if their deposits aren't able to be withdrawn when they go to get it. So that's another situation we're going to find out. But definitely having a duffel bag of paper may not be something you want to do. But like what's happening in Venezuela, one day you may, unfortunately, hopefully don't have a wheelbarrow full of paper trying to take it somewhere because it's not worth anything. So I think we're somewhere in between that mix of, you don't want to be walking around with a bag of paper or bags of paper because it's still a value, it still spends. But then again, you don't want to be on the end of that with a barrel of paper that nobody wants. So you can see that little margin there. You got something to work with in the meantime. But, of course, we have no clue really, but I appreciate the question. But we'll continue to talk this stuff out in the days ahead, my friend.
All right, thank you. Have a blessed day.
Appreciate you for the question. Thanks.
Peace.
Yeah. So that's a great question. Like, getting down to the nitty gritty of how transactions will take place in the midst of chaos. I personally, that's a very difficult type of situation to play out, because, there's no way of actually predicting and determining how this thing will unfold. And so Low Blood Pressure said, Dave Ramsey says gold and silver are stupid. I followed Dave Ramsey years ago before I actually arrived on this monetary scene, because his information was very practical. It was not practical, but it was very helpful. It was step one in my monetary financial dealings. Just because not being taught what money was, how to handle it, Dave Ramsey definitely helped get my family back on track. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, Mike, it's Russell from Missouri again.
Russell, how you doing, my friend? What's going on?
I'm doing fantastic. I have a question.
Yep, go ahead.
We all see an impending breakdown coming, we don't know how it's going to affect the regional banks. I mean, well, I know pretty much all the banks are going to be affected. My concern is that due to all the weight of this fractional, investing and things like that, or derivative investing and all that. But my question is, should I take my silver and things like that I have in my bank deposit box? Should I take those out of my bank safe deposit box because I won't be able to have access to that stuff when it happens and when I'll need it? Or do you think that those will be accessible? Or what is your opinion on that?
Yeah,
I just like to get a couple different opinions there.
Okay, so great question there, and just based upon what I've gathered and heard and stories and whatnot, that by using a depository that basically is the steward of your holdings as far as that box, they have every right to deny you entrance, give or take their banking situation. So based upon like what happened with the gold confiscation in 1933 with the executive order there, all deposit boxes were raided. Like, if you came in, you had to open it up and they had to make sure there was nothing of gold in there. So if in worst case scenario, it's good to say you won't be able to get into your bank because, the banks, local banks don't hold much cash. And so if people go there to try to withdraw, they're going to eventually run out of cash, and then they're not going to be able to actually remain open for business. So they're going to have to close their doors just because they run out of cash, more than likely, which means that you won't have access into your box, I would imagine. So I believe that the best thing to do is definitely not have it in the hands of another entity that will be impacted and be the reason for the problem. So definitely I would think that would be worth your while to, if you want to miss out or lose out on something, you probably want to do it in your own hands as opposed to somebody else's. So my opinion would be that you would definitely want to make sure you have full control or have it in the hands or entity or somewhere that you trust that you can get if you need. And the banking sector, I don't think they're going to be as friendly as to open their doors up when they run out of paper. Just my opinion.
Okay. Question I have. If you're concerned you might not live in the best part of town or something like that, so you're concerned about leaving that in your home, even if you have a safe deposit box. You got a safe deposit box in your home, that's what the thieves are going to take.
Yeah.
And then they don't care how long it takes them to get into it. They got your safe deposit box.
Yeah.
So where would be a alternative place to store your things that you deem valuable and that you will want to have in the case of a financial, a bank closure because of that? Where would be? Do you know of any alternative places where you can go that you can have your have them, safe? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So once again, there's no right answer. It's more so just how creative can you be is what it boils down to. How creative can you be, and how confident do you feel that you would want it in close proximity or a drive away or a plane away? Like, depending on, because David Morgan mentioned some things, and so different commentators that join me here give different opinions, but most people, from what I've gathered, seem to have some that they can actually reach out and grab, take a drive to go get, and then get on the plane and go receive if need be. So anywhere in between there, it's more so what you can come up with that and that you feel that you can get to if need be. So there's no right or wrong. It's whatever you feel the most comfortable with. So anywhere in between those lines there, you probably be covered. So the biggest thing is if something really goes haywires and you had to leave or you had forced to stay, you'll have access to something. So I'll be having a couple coins in your possession in the midst of an emergency will be better than not having access to anything. And then if you're able to go a little further, perhaps you got something out there as well. And then if you're able to leave the country in a worst case scenario, you got something out there too. So those are all things based upon your current situation and your plan, whatever your plan is. So that's my thoughts on that. That's my opinion.
Okay, very good. I did hear that that one thing that you had, the caller, the guy you interviewed that said about having, a whole bunch of money in a whole bunch of different places, and I was just like going, man, I wish I had that kind of money.
Yeah, like everybody doesn't have it that way, but definitely, man, it's exactly. How creative can you be? That's what I think it boils down to. So
gotcha.
Thanks for calling back, my friend.
Well, thanks for all you do, Mike.
All right, then. Be good. Thanks. Yeah, man. Good stuff as always. Good stuff as always. But, people, it's that time of the evening. We're drawing towards the end. Definitely want to go a little longer, but got to wrap things up as we stand. But more importantly, if you have not, with everything going on, if you have not acquired this golden grail, I'm not sure what to tell you, because right now it's not going to get any cheaper. So get you a bullion, get you a gold gram, and definitely, get your weight up. That's what it boils down to. Other than that, get that free ebook there. All that stuff is below. Thanks for joining us tonight. I appreciate all the back and forth. We had a great conversation tonight. And definitely, it's always good to connect with people who are concerned and interested in learning out ways of, prospering, as well as just getting through this whole charade of a financial Armageddon that's underway. So we will see. But other than that, everybody be blessed. Have fun. Be safe. And more importantly, stay prayed up, because God already has everything worked out. So be of good cheer. But other than that, make sure you guys, if you have not, because once again, I got another email mentioning that they haven't been receiving notices about us going live. Make sure if you are interested in joining us, hit that the bell so you'll be notified when things do go live, as well as subscribe if you have not. And then if the video was informative to you, share so other people can join the community and we can get more people on the same on the board, the same train, heading towards safe pastures. So other than that, be safe, be good, peace.